El Rushbo. Half my brain tied behind my back just to make it fair on our 24th anniversary here at the EIB Network, August 1st, as we start our 25th year of service to humanity. The telephone number 800-282-2882. Let me just put it out there, folks. And you can let me know if you think I'm full of it. And I know some of you will. I have such a belief that the majority of us do not want to make this Obama mistake again. The country is hanging in the balance. We all know we have to win this election or it's ball game. You have the full implementation of Obamacare, tax-amageddon starting on January 1st. This, folks, the days of accruing wealth and passing it on to your children and your family and having your kids do better than you do, those days are going to be over for more and more people if we have any more of this. And I just don't see people deciding essentially to guarantee 4 more years of this if Romney picks the wrong VP. Now, I could be all wet. Some of you in the base might, and I know that there's a lot of you that are not crazy about Romney. He's not a conservative. I get that. I understand it. And who knows, there may be some of you that if he picks somebody you don't like, that you say, harump, I'm staying home. And you might, fine, you want to destroy the country, go ahead. Go ahead, destroy it. You're not serious about stopping Obama, go ahead. You pick somebody you don't like as the VP. I just don't see, once Election Day gets here, that the vice presidential choice could cause people to stay home and thus guarantee 4 more years of what would end up being the end of the country as founded and as we know it. I'm sorry, I just don't see people putting up with that. I don't see this being much about the Republicans at all, frankly. I'm not trying to dispirit people on my own. I think Romney's a better candidate than a lot of people think, and I think if he wins, he's going to surprise people in doing things a little bit more conservative than some people think he's going to do. I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong about all this. But I see this Chick-fil-A Day, I see this happening on November 6th, and I see one man making it possible, Barack Obama. Barack Obama's our turnout, and I don't think the wrong VP choice can depress our turnout. The regime, the Obama regime, they're trying their best to dispirit the white working class vote that Obama has abandoned. And it's utter racism, and you get right down to it. But I gotta tell you, I think Palin was the exception to what I'm saying now. I think Palin was the one VP choice back then that was a game changer. I thought Jack Kemp might have been a game changer for Dole. Turned out I was dead wrong. It didn't matter. Did it? It didn't. Well, okay, he imploded with when Gore said, Jack, you're a good Republican, you're not a racist. And he said, yeah, thank you, Al. Instead of being outraged by it. But it just doesn't matter. It's a fun political exercise talking. It's like the fourth man in a 4-man bobsled. Who cares? Or no, the third guy in the 4-man bobsled. Does anybody know who that ever is? Badminton. Let me go back to the phones here. I have made my point. This is Barbara in Kansas City. It's great to have you on the program. Hello.
Hi, Rush. This is so exciting for me to be able to speak with you. My husband got me hooked on you during the Clinton administration, so for me this is such an honor. I've tried for years to get through and never could.
Well, I'm glad you did today.
I am too. Anyway, I was driving by the Chick-fil-A, which is located at the Ward Parkway Shopping Center here in Kansas City.
I know where that is. Oh, yeah. I used to drive by there wishing I had the money to go in.
There you go. I burst out laughing. It is packed. There was a line out the door that was unbelievable. Cars trying to get in from the Ward Parkway side, the State Line side, the 86th Street side, from the Target parking lot. It was just hilarious. And I thought, this is so wonderful. And because there's been no media attention, and it's great that conservatives are able to get out there and say,
you mean
wow,
there's no
we have a voice.
There's no TV media attention.
No, there was no TV media.
Right. Because I know KMBZ is all over it.
Yeah, and I didn't see them there.
But I ask you a question. I know the answer I'm going to get, but I need to ask it anyway. I'm curious. You live in Kansas City.
Yes.
If I were to ask you if you live in a Google Fiber neighborhood, do you know what I'm talking about?
Is Google Fiber, is that the new where it's supposed to be a higher speed?
You do know that, yes, and they're debuting it in Kansas City. It's like a gigabyte download speed. Okay. They're competing with Verizon's, how do you pronounce it? FiOS, which is 300. Comcast is going to have 355 down. This is a gigabyte down. Of course, it depends on the service you're connected to. Are you in a neighborhood where they're testing this, installing this?
Well, I have not heard that we are, so I don't know.
Well, they're asking neighborhoods to sign up.
Oh, okay.
And so and neighborhoods, apparently, that among people who know about this, it's hot to trot. A lot of people I know are moving to Kansas City just to be able to have this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, not really, but they're joking about it. Anyway, she does know about it. She does know that. I'm proud that you knew what I was talking about.
Well, I listened to you.
Well, that explains it all. That explains it. Barbara, thanks much. I appreciate it. Look, all this talk about Romney and the Veep, there's a guy out there who's in real trouble, folks. And it's Barack Hussein Obama, who, as we now know, almost has genuine slave blood. Yes, that had that story yesterday from the joyful AP. Is almost got, almost direct linkage to slave number one in this country. They can't prove it. That didn't stop them from running the story. Dawn, you weren't here yesterday. You don't know about this. Oh, this was hilarious. Anyway, some black men of the cloth. A coalition of black ministers is not happy with Barack Obama because of his gay marriage support. You know, Democrats are talking about putting a plank in the party platform supporting gay marriage. The White House is not saying anything about that. But there is a black minister out there, the Reverend William Owens. He's the head of the Coalition of African American Pastors. And he said for the president to bow to the money as Judas did for Jesus Christ is a disgrace and a shame. He was referring to Obama doing an about-face regarding gay marriage and the millions of dollars in campaign donations that the flip-flop earned him. And we have the audio sound bites. Yesterday in Washington, the National Press Club, the Coalition of African American Pastors held a presser to launch a nationwide campaign opposing Obama's support of gay marriage. The Reverend William Owens spoke. Here's a portion of what he said.
The time has come for a broad-based assault against the powers that be that want to change our culture to one of men marrying men and women marrying women. The president has ignored the black community because he feels he has us in his pocket. But we're not in his pocket. And because he's black, we refuse to give him a pass. I am ashamed that the first black president chose this road, a disgraceful road.
He is shamed that the first black who was Bill Clinton, chose this road, this disgraceful road. And Reverend Owens continued.
The president is in the White House because of the civil rights movement, and I was a leader in that movement. And I didn't march 1 inch, 1 foot, 1 yard for a man to marry a man and a woman to marry a woman. So the president has forgotten the price that was paid for the president to bow to the money, as Judas did with Jesus Christ, is a disgrace, and we're ashamed. We will not take it back. We will not back down.
I didn't march, not 1 inch, not 1 foot, not 1 yard, for a man to marry a man and a woman to marry a woman. And these guys are serious. That's not what the civil rights movement was about to them, and they do not like it being appropriated this way. They do not like the civil rights movement effectively being expanded or stolen to include the agenda of gay marriage. They are not down for that struggle. Well, I tell you what, I wonder if Rahm Emanuel will ban William Owens in his church in Chicago, because Reverend Owens here is not reflecting Chicago values. And I wonder if Mayor Menino in Boston will see fit to call a press conference and tell Reverend Owens, don't try to open a church here, pal. Clearly, this isn't Chicago values. This is not Boston values, according to the mayors. Reverend Owens, again.
Another very important point I think that needs to be made is if you watch the men who have been caught having sex with little boys, you will note that all of them will say that I was molested as a child. A man molested me in my home. Wherever they will say they were molested. And for the president to condone this type thing, knowing the full facts, is just irresponsible.
He's Judas. He did it for the money. They were not down for this struggle. This isn't what they marched for. Not 1 inch, not 1 foot, not 1 yard. And this could amount to something. I gotta go. Quick time out here, my friends, because of the constraints of the programming format.